Welcome to Conversatio, the Belmont Abbey College podcast. This podcast exists to form and transform our community so that each of us can more fully reflect the image of God. My name is Morgan Alemy, and I'm the Director of Campus Ministry here at the Abbey. I'll be your podcast host today. I'm thrilled to be joined by Emma Fradd, a talented musician who we're honored to have perform for us tonight. Today's episode will be about faith, music, and how the two beautifully intersect. Emma, could you tell us a little about yourself?
Sure thing. My real name is Emma Cruz, but my maiden name is Fradd, and I was a musician for so long before I got married, so I've just kept it. It's become my stage name now. Mm-hmm. So Emma Cruz or Emma Fradd. I'm an Australian Catholic musician, and I moved to the States last year with my family, and that's probably a good little intro for you.
Perfect. Let's start at the beginning of your musical interest. When did you first start playing music or writing your own songs?
When I was probably in primary school, which is probably like grade 6, I think you guys call it. But when I was in grade 8, I moved into high school, and the program there was just, it was, you had to learn like basic guitar, drums and bass guitar, and I was really into like grunge rock music at the time, and I caught on really easily to those instruments. So I feel like a combination of like loving the music and being able to actually like play it and participate in it is probably when it started. So I would have been 13.
Wow, that's awesome that your skills were like fostered, like you were given the tools that you needed to really flourish in that.
Yeah.
Cool. And how would you describe your musical style now?
Sure, I would describe it as kind of alternative indie pop rock, I suppose. It's although I'm Catholic, the genre of the music certainly isn't Christian or praise and worship. It's just, I am Christian and I write alternative rock as opposed to like writing intentionally and specifically like kind of music with Christ language or things like that. Not that the songs aren't clearly Christian if you look close enough. But yeah, so I'd say alternative pop rock, I guess.
Okay. Who are some of your biggest influences, like musically or spiritually?
Sure. Spiritually, a lot of the songs I wrote a decade ago, I was just, because I had a pretty big conversion experience when I was 18. So I was just reading anything I could get my hands on. I read a lot of saint work, so a lot of Saint Faustina, Saint Bridget of Ireland, John Paul II, just the Bible, so a lot of those writings influenced my earlier songs. Musically, it's tricky. I feel like my favorite band is this sister girl band from Los Angeles called Haim. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they I feel like they're getting like more kind of inappropriate as they go deeper into the music industry, which unfortunately tends to be the way, but some of their early stuff is just really amazing. They're just really gifted individuals, instrumentalists, and they do a lot of harmony, and they're siblings, so it sounds amazing, and the lead singer plays drums and she's really talented, and they all do their part really, really well, and the songs that they write are just unlike anything that's kind of out right now. So I tend to get influenced by music that sounds maybe a bit different or a bit strange.
Yeah, things that are unique you're attracted to.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I feel when I kind of had my conversion and started taking my faith more seriously, I was a bit surprised at how samey, if you can say, like a lot of Catholic music sounded, or at least what I was being exposed to. Just kind of like it was either the praise and worship genre or chant, or just very strange hymns from the 70s that are still being played at mass. Like, I really wanted to just continue down writing music that was different and unique. So.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about your conversion and how that influenced the way that you approach music?
Not in a way that was really intentional. Like, obviously, well, I'll tell you the story of my conversion, and then if I get lost, you can ask that again. So basically, I was raised in a Catholic family, and in a small town in South Australia, and we went to a Catholic school, but I guess I didn't believe it. It wasn't taught to me very well by people who seemed to believe it themselves, and just from a small town where teenagers kind of just get into a bit of trouble with drinking and drugs, and I just kind of got caught up a bit in that. And to me, that seemed like the thing to do because it's what all my friends were doing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my brother invited me to come live with him. He was living in Ireland at the time with his wife, and he invited me to come live there for 3 months. And I was like, sweet, I'm from this tiny town. I was like, I'd love to travel and see the world. But I was kind of like, you can't preach to me when I'm there. Like, I don't want to go with you to mass, like, I don't want to hear about it. And of course, inevitably, conversations about God came up, but I would sort of challenge him a lot. And, I'd say, why does the church teach this? And kind of throw all my hard questions at him. And it kind of got to a point where he said, we could argue until we turn blue in the face, but have you ever actually tried praying to God personally? And I was like, yes, Matt. Like, Mum and Dad make us pray every day before meals, and they bring us to mass on Sunday, and then school brings us to church another day of the week. It's like I've been into the church and like God isn't there. Like, it is so boring and empty, and I'm telling you, like, there's no God basically. And he sort of said, if anyone forces you to do anything, it's usually not a good outcome. But he sort of challenged me and said, why don't you find your own time and your own space and just pray to God, just with whatever's on your heart, whatever you want to say to him, and be sure to kind of like listen to him basically. So I took his advice, and my prayer from that day, every day, was kind of like, God, if you're real, like, you're going to have to prove this to me, because this is pretty far-fetched. And, I was, I think, 18 at the time, and I'd been around my very small town Catholic idea of Catholic culture, and it just wasn't feeling true to me. So yeah, I just started praying that every day, and I ended up going to Medjugorje with my brother and his youth group, and that was a pretty cool experience. And then we ended up in Canada because my brother worked for Net. Have you heard of Net Ministries before?
Yes.
So he worked for them at the time, and I kind of went along to babysit his little boy for 2 weeks. And if you know anything about Net, it's that their missionaries are like so hardcore. They're very, very charismatic and just very into God. And I was really blown away just by meeting people individually, but then seeing them as a group collectively praying. And as I mentioned, they're very charismatic. They're very into praise and worship, hands in the air, singing their guts out. And I remember kind of being around that and being very just like, what is going on? Like, this is, in my brain, this God isn't real, but in all their brains, like, he's totally real. Like, and they all believe it, like, in a way that I've never seen it be believed like this before, So I went into the chapel they had at the retreat center there, and just prayed to God, and was like, I think I was just slowly becoming more and more vulnerable to God, and I think my prayer became a bit more real, because it wasn't just like, prove it, God, it was like, look, if you really are real, like, I will give my life to you, like, if that's what you want, if this is an example, like how these young people are living their lives, like, I want to be this sold out for something if it's the truth, and only if it's the truth, And then, a few days later, one of the Net staff were giving a talk about just the charisma, really, God dying for our sins, and just something in the talk. I think he said something like, God killed a part of himself to save you. And he said, how can you conceive that? And I think I realized in that moment, like, I had been trying for weeks to kind of fit God in my little brain, and it was this strange conversion moment where I kind of realized, like, I'm never going to be able to figure this out. Like, I'm never going to be able to, like, think my way into believing in God. And it's almost like in realizing that, God just came into my heart, and I had been praying to Mary, asking Mary to reveal Jesus to me. And I just feel like in that moment, my prayer was answered, and I was just gifted with this strong faith, and I just knew, like, this is real. And it was awesome. Like, my whole life was just totally changed, and the trajectory of my life, I was thinking I'd go back to my small town and move to Adelaide, which is the big city there, and just get in a band and probably just live a life, maybe live with my boyfriend, I don't know, maybe get pregnant, maybe XYZ. But I ended up coming back and serving on Net Canada. And to answer the second half of your question about how my conversion has influenced my faith. I sort of shared previously that when I had my conversion, I was a little kind of perplexed at the genres available in the Catholic music realm. And at the time, and I still have some appreciation for praise and worship music, and I definitely see a space for it. But I was into like Metallica and, you know, crazy guitar solos and really intricate guitar, and, you know, I really loved writing music with lyrics that were interesting, that told a story, and I just didn't really see that. So I kind of just kept writing that kind of music, except now, because I had met Jesus, it was all informed by this personal relationship with Jesus. So, you know, praying to him every day, receiving the sacraments, getting to know him more, and in turn getting to know myself more. And yeah, that's my very long answer.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, and I think it's so beautiful that you encountered people who were patient with you, who were very gentle and willing to, like, you know, answer your questions.
Totally. And I was 18, and you can imagine just like, you know, a hot mess.
Yeah, my kind of journey back to the Catholic faith, very similar, lots of questions, very angry. And the monks here were such a huge part in kind of answering my questions.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And
that's sweet.
Yeah, leading me to the real beauty of our Catholic faith.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
What advice would you give to, like, up and coming, maybe artists who are Catholic, and maybe they're seeing the same challenges that you see in the Catholic genres right now? You know, what would you want to tell them?
Kind of advice if they're wanting to kind of make a name for themselves, you mean, kind of thing? Or, oh gosh, I guess a few things. I would encourage them to get out there and play gigs. I think a lot of people just kind of write music in their bedrooms and upload it to Spotify, and that's that. And maybe there is a space for that, but there is just something really special and cool about playing a live performance for a crowd, whether it's a crowd of 10 or 100, just having that connection. And it can help your music grow as well, like being attentive to what songs are hitting home with people, and just having conversations with people about your songs. You can kind of get an inkling whether or not you see your music as a ministry or not. Just to get better as a songwriter, it's great to be able to play live shows. And I don't know, the thing about Catholic music is just like, it's not even really a thing. Like it's just really what it is there are Catholic musicians who write an infinite amount of genres. So I would say maybe don't feel tied down to a specific genre, and just try and be unique. Like, it's okay if there are certain types of music you like and maybe you want to kind of sound similar, but whenever people send me their music and ask for feedback, that's one of the main things I say to them is like, just try and be more unique. You know, like what you've written sounds totally like a Protestant praise and worship song, or sounds like something I've heard before. Like try and write something that hasn't been done before, which is so hard because, as Ecclesiastes tells us, nothing is new under the sun. But that's what I love about writing music, just getting in the studio and writing a song and being like, okay, where can I take this that's just completely different, that no one will expect? Just, you know, just taking it to a new place, to somewhere unique. So yeah, I guess I would say my pieces of advice are to do live shows and to just keep writing and writing and just try and be unique with it. Yeah,
because, you know, the Lord created us all with unrepeatable souls.
Totally.
And so to draw from that.
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Would you play a song for us today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I might just move this mic a little bit if that's okay. Bang. So I'm going to play a bit of an older song, but it's one that people seem to like. It's called Confirmed and Engraved. So verse 1 was taken from St. Faustina's diary. The words are, "Let it be confirmed and engraved on your heart." Excuse me, this is Jesus talking to St. Faustina. He says, "Let it be confirmed and engraved on your heart that I'm always with you, even if you don't feel I'm near at the time of battle. Do not be absorbed in your misery, but rather gaze upon my heart." It's pretty self-explanatory. I just thought that those lines were boss, so whacked them in. And then verse 2 is taken from the Gospels, but then the chorus, which is I think what people tend to connect with, is just a prayer that I made up that I'm sure everyone has prayed before, which is just, may I want holiness more than I want pleasure. May I want holiness more than I want free time and not to be annoyed and YouTube and Netflix, like more than every little comfort and everything I want. Like, may I just always want to put God first. And it's a hard thing to want all the time, so it's probably a good thing to sing about all the time and ask for God's grace for. So
Awesome.
Yeah. Shall I just go for it?
Yeah, we're excited.
Okay. Let it be confirmed and engraved on your heart that I am always with you. Even if you don't feel I'm near at the time of battle. Do not be absorbed in your misery, but rather gaze upon my heart. Do not be absorbed in your misery, but rather gaze upon my heart. But rather gaze upon my heart. May I want holiness more than I want pleasure. May I want holiness more than I want pleasure. You will be sorrowful, but it will turn to joy, and no one will take that from you. Ask and you would receive, that your joy would be full. Do not be absorbed in your misery, but rather gaze upon my heart. Do not be absorbed in your misery, but rather gaze upon my heart. But rather gaze upon my heart. May I want holiness more than I want pleasure. May I want holiness more than I want pleasure. Trying to take my own will back from you while you wait in line. I re-give to renew. Ooh. May I want holiness more than I want pleasure. May I want holiness more than I want pleasure. May I want holiness more than I want pleasure. May I want holiness more than I want pleasure.
Wow. Thank you so much, Emma. Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. I was really enthralled by the words, but also by the way that you were picking the strings, like all of the efforts, it was a prayer. It is work. Wow.
Thank you.
Incredible. Yeah, are there any upcoming releases or tours or collaborations that you're excited about?
Well, I've kind of just done a release and I'm just on a tour. So in June, I released an album called I Can Read Minds, and I'm currently on tour for that right now. It's 17 shows. I think there's about 5 or 6 left. So yeah, tonight playing in Belmont, which is exciting, and then tomorrow it's Knoxville, Sunday is Nashville, the following Friday is in Steubenville, the following day after that is in Portland, and then Milwaukee on the following Tuesday, and then my final show is, I believe, November 4th in Cincinnati. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So a busy season for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, we're so glad that you're letting Belmont Abbey be one of the stops on your tour. And then my final question for you would be, where can listeners find your music or support your work?
Sure. So anywhere you stream online, Emma Fradd is spelled EMMAFRADD. So Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. You can find me on Instagram. I'm just at Emma Fradd, one word. So you can find some live videos of myself playing there and upcoming tour dates and things like that. My husband and I have a Catholic record label called Enemy Love Records. So if you just go to enemyloverecords.com, you can find out a bit more about that. My husband runs retreats for musicians and artists, and there's a little link to a shop there if you want to support and buy some physical CDs or sweaters or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all of that.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you to our audience for joining us. Thank you, Emma, for joining us and for this wonderful conversation. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and tell your friends that Conversatio is available wherever you can find podcasts. Thank you so much.